Hey everyone, welcome back to Under the Lights. I'm here with Jackson Weber,
What's going on?
and we are going to go through a little bit of football, both of them, and we're going to go through end of F1 coming to an end, and we're going to talk about a little bit of controversy. So we're going to dive in, a little blast from the past. A few weeks ago, Game of the Year. Can you talk a little bit about more, Jackson?
So the Bills and the Vikings. I'm a Vikings fan, so I'm going to be biased toward this, but it has been regarded as the game of the year already.
It's
And
been also basically the catch of the year in it too. So
it was. So this game, it was pretty good. It was a little back and forth at the start, and then Buffalo started to run away with it. I think they had a 2-score lead on Minnesota going into the second half, and it looked like it was all Buffalo all the time in the third quarter. Fourth quarter comes around, and Buffalo starts messing up.
Yeah.
Making some crucial mistakes. Minnesota's getting lucky on a few catches. And Minnesota is down. Minnesota scores, and they miss an extra point. And so it's 27-23, so they have to score, and there's 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They have to get a touchdown. And this is the catch of the year everybody's been talking about. And it's fourth and I think 16. Jefferson goes about 30 yards, and Kirk Cousins just throws the ball, just a complete lob into the air. And Jefferson and his defender go up for it, and Jefferson gets his hand up through the defenders on top of the ball.
It should have been a pick. It should have been an interception. It was clearly going
it would
right
have. If it was any other receiver, it would have been a pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he snags it.
He did.
Incredible catch. Probably the catch of the year. Probably the catch in the past 5 years,
Yeah.
in my opinion. The scenario, what's going on.
It's been compared to the Odell catch already.
Which is just insane because he literally one-hands it, grabs it from the defender, comes
and
down
holds it
and
with
holds
one
it,
hand the entire time.
which is just insane.
Yeah. He doesn't pull it in. He's got his arm outstretched for the entire catch.
And you can see both quarterbacks doing kind of the same thing with stats. 2 interceptions for both of them.
It's eerily similar.
Around 300 and a half, a little bit yards. And then completions a little bit more for Kirk Cousins. But still, just like everything that goes on in this game, spectacular. It was competitive. It was interesting the whole way through.
We haven't even gotten to the craziest part yet.
No, we haven't.
So Minnesota's on the goal line. And I saw this after, and it was talked about on Red Zone. The win percentage for Minnesota when they were on the goal line, it was, I think, 70%. And Kirk Cousins does a QB sneak and misses on 4th and inches. And so the ball, it's a turnover, and there's 30 seconds, maybe a minute and a half left, 30 seconds left. And the win percentage for Minnesota, 2%. The very next play, it's for some reason, I have no idea why. Josh Allen decides to do a QB sneak on the quarter-yard line.
I have no clue why.
And drops the ball immediately at the snap. Minnesota dives on it and scores a touchdown.
I can't believe that was the play call they went with.
Yep.
I just really can't believe it.
And Minnesota scores a touchdown, makes a kick, and so it's 30-27, 30 seconds left. And Buffalo drives down the field, kicks a field goal to send it to overtime. It was amazing. It was unreal. And so overtime comes around, and Minnesota wins the toss, and that's not a good sign for Buffalo after the divisional game last year. And Minnesota is held to a field goal. And so it's 33-30, and Buffalo starts to drive yet again. And I'm getting worried. I'm starting to lose all hope because they've got Stephon Diggs, they've got Gabe Davis, Devin Singletary, and they're just killing it on this field, making 15, 20-yard catches. And so Buffalo is on, I think, the 25-yard line. And Josh Allen, I don't know why he decided to throw it like this. He throws a dart down the middle of the field into the end zone, and Patrick Peterson sees this, breaks it off from his receiver, and picks off Josh Allen, ending the game right there.
One of the craziest things I've seen in a while was, first off, why is he making that throw? It's first down.
Yeah. No, it was second down because they had made a throw to one of the corner of the end zones, and it got blocked.
And then he also made a run play before that. But still, even if it's second down, you still got 2 other downs to work with.
Yep.
Even if you need to kick the field goal, there's no pressure to get in the end zone.
And Josh Allen just showed before then, he had 2 15-ish yard runs. I don't know why he didn't run it again. Maybe get an extra 8 yards.
The whole thing in itself it has to be the game of the year. One of the best
Yeah.
catches in recent
Jefferson
years.
catch, yeah.
And
His gloves and arm sleeve are already in, I think, the NFL Hall of Fame museum.
That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And everything that goes on in this was just absolutely insane. But
Mhm.
that was a little bit from a few weeks ago, but still,
Yep.
it'll be the best game of the year,
It's still being talked about. It's still on SportsCenter
Yes.
every day.
which is just absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're going to transition into the World Cup. We're going to talk about a little bit of our predictions, some of the games that are coming up in the next few weeks, who we think is going to win, underdogs. Just going through like this, the group stage right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk a little bit about like our favorite groups. Obviously, the U.S.
Group B.
Group B with England, Iran.
England, Iran, USA, and Wales. And the game I can't wait for is USA versus England
That's going to be a fun one.
on November 25th. That I just know if USA wins that game, it's called soccer. It's
That's
not
not
football.
true. That's not true. Come on. We play with our feet. Let's be real. Let's be real. But still, that's going to be just a crazy game in itself. As a U.S., like being in the U.S., but admiring like how people are actually supposed to play the sport, it's going to be definitely a battle.
Mhm.
I think, sadly, I don't think we're going to take this one, but I still think we're going to move on past the group stage. Group C with Argentina, Mexico, Poland, Saudi.
That could be a good one.
I think that'll be pretty good. I think Argentina takes the top lead of that group.
For
I think
sure.
I think Mexico takes number 2. Sucks that Poland's not going to get through. But then Group D, France, is taking that one. Australia, Denmark.
France is the reigning champs, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They played out outstanding. They're doing pretty well so far. And I think in general, it's just a pretty good group just for everything that's going on. Spain, Costa Rica, Japan, Germany in Group E. That'll be a battle. I think Germany takes that one. I think Spain comes in second. Group F, Belgium,
I think Belgium takes
Canada.
that group.
Oh, I think Canada could be a sleeper pick. I still think Belgium takes that group. They have so much star power. They have a lot going for them.
Mm-hmm.
But, don't count Canada out.
And then there's Group G with
Group G.
Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. Brazil's the clear favorite. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Granit Xhaka.
Yep.
An Arsenal player playing for Switzerland. Obviously, I want to see him do well. Serbia.
I don't think so.
Cameroon. I know Cameroon is a pretty good team this year, but I don't think I think it's a battle between Switzerland and Cameroon for that number 2 spot. Brazil, they're going to make it through unless they're just absolute idiots. Group H, Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea. I think Portugal takes that top one, and then it'll be a battle. I want to say between Ghana and Uruguay for that second spot to make it out. But in general, we skipped over Group A, but there's nothing really exciting. Qatar,
Qatar,
really like
Ecuador,
Qatar.
Senegal, and the Netherlands.
It'll definitely be interesting. But to go on tomorrow, this will be the first match of the World Cup. Qatar, Ecuador, which we're going to talk about in another segment in a little bit. But then England and Iran for the next day on the November 21st.
We've got 1 game tomorrow and 3 games on Monday.
Yeah, which Wales and the U.S. are playing, which will be a big game. Sadly, I have a class during that time. But then Tuesday, Argentina, Mexico, Denmark, France, they all play against their respective teams. And I think all of those people are going to take it from who I just mentioned. Going forward, Germany, Japan, I think will be a good game on Wednesday. Belgium, Canada, I think that'll be the highlight of that group stage.
Yep. I think Portugal and Ghana could be a really good match.
I think that'll be good.
Really good.
I think that'll be a good one. And I think on Thursday, the 24th, Serbia and Brazil, I think it'll be a test.
That's when we'll see how good this team is.
This Brazil team is.
If they can really beat up on Serbia, I think they have a real shot.
Yeah.
If it's a close match, maybe a 1-0 or even like a 2-1, maybe
It'll
start
be
to get a little
shaky.
worried.
It'll be shaky. I think it'll definitely be interesting. That is kind of wrapping up of the first round games, because then we go into some replay, like Wales,
More
Iran.
group play.
Yes. But I think for this first little week, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. As we all know, it's in Qatar. There's a lot of stuff going on with that, which is what we're going to dive into now, a little bit of the controversy going into the World Cup. I have a quote from an article I read on the Rolling Stones. A World Cup built on modern slavery. Stadium workers blow the whistle on Qatar's cover-up for the migrant deaths and suffering.
Yep.
There's so much going on in the world right now, and this
Qatar has been an increasing,
bloodbath between the media and the migrant workers, which is just, I mean, it's horrible just to hear some of the stuff they're going through. Obviously, it's not right.
Mm-hmm.
And we've heard from the president of FIFA. He's talked about how, it was basically a money grab.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of money in Qatar. They've become like an increasing spot for world sports. And I think it's started to put an increased amount of light on the dark secrets of that country. And, I mean, we're going to see where this goes. Obviously, I mean, cash is king.
Cash is king.
Money's going to decide it. But we're going to see whether or not these big, global sports leagues are going to keep coming back to Qatar and these nations like around it that are honestly kind of the same as Qatar with these dark secrets.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. It kind of feels like a live golf scenario where they're just using Saudi money.
Yeah.
But still, it's just everything going on. There's an estimated 6,500 workers that have died while working on everything in Qatar for the World Cup. Everything going on right now is just.
But that's only an estimate too.
That's only
because
an estimate.
we're never going to know how much
I'm
they
assuming
really
it's over. Yeah,
have.
I'm assuming it's over, and the whole fact that it is basically modern slavery, they're not getting everything going on. We're gonna learn more as the World Cup goes on, and
hopefully, because whenever they're barely going to show anything outside of those stadiums, and if they do, it's going to be very what they want us to see. And
I'm also nervous about the media in this whole thing, just because cash is king.
And for their safety, too. Basically, if they speak out against it, what could happen to them?
Yeah, and the scariest issue for me is everyone's going to be in Qatar. We're basically at the mercy of them because they can bring down a wrath. Obviously, could start a war, but hopefully it doesn't.
We're not going to get into that.
Yes, everything going on, everything in general is just, it's a scary thought. It's a scary world we're living in right now, especially with cash is king. Everything's going towards that. The whole thing in general is just a scary thought.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who want to boycott the World Cup. Obviously, it is illegal, and they don't tolerate anything from the LGBTQ+. The syntax is outrageous. I was doing a little research, and I saw that with, everything going on, the syntax is insane. So if you wanted to buy a beer, which you're not allowed to have
non-alcoholic beer. They're not selling any alcohol in public places. It's illegal for public intoxication is very illegal there.
And if you wanted something like that, it's an equivalent of $92 for one, which is just outrageous. And it's just I understand they're playing tomorrow, the 20th against Ecuador. And I know you've done a little research.
Yeah, so it came out a few days ago that Qatar had reportedly tried to bribe 8 Ecuador players $7.4 million to lose the opener against Qatar. They wanted them to lose in a 1-0 score with the goal scored in the second half. And, I mean, I don't think the home nation should be able to play in that World Cup. I just feel like that could create problems like this because I mean, obviously that didn't happen. We don't think that happened with Brazil in 2014. Yeah. But when you have a nation like Qatar and they already have like these kind of sketchy side to them,
Yeah.
I feel like it should just be, okay, you're hosting it, you're out this time, but you could be in next time, but you just can't play here.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope when you go down that road. I think that should apply to this one per se. But like when it comes down to it, the host nation, that's a big piece. Like if you're not playing in it and you're the host nation, I feel like that's just a big problem in general.
Yeah,
obviously, if it comes to the U.S., Russia, anywhere in Europe, they're gonna want to have that host nation play. So it's a slippery slope, but with all the allegations, everything going on, I just don't see how, and with the bribery stuff going on, I don't see how they can like play and,
I don't see how
fair laws.
If they win any matches, you can look at it the same as France winning any match. Like it almost, you have to take every match they play with like a grain of salt of, is this real? Like, is this scripted or is this real?
Yeah. And everything going on is just, it's scary. I want to enjoy the World Cup, but there's always that lingering thought in the back of your mind where it's like everything that went into it is just sad. Obviously, visually, the stadiums are gorgeous.
Yes.
Everything going on is very pretty. There's a lot of time, money, and man-hours spent on this experience for the World Cup. But whenever you look at the dark side of it, it's always going to...
It's never going to look great.
No. But we're going to try and end this podcast with a little bit of, an upside. We're going to finish with talking about F1. This is the last Grand Prix of the season.
Yep.
Coming
it's
up.
in Abu Dhabi this weekend. And it's also the last race for a few of the drivers.
Your boy.
There was a lot of shakeup in the driver lineup for this next year. So
Sebastian Vettel's out.
Sebastian Vettel, the 4-time world champion, is retiring at the end of this year.
Sad to see it. Daniel Ricciardo, your boy.
Daniel Ricciardo does not have a seat this year. It's rumored he's going to be a reserve driver for Red Bull.
Which is where he was racing for a while.
And he was very good there.
He was very good.
Won a number of races for them. Mick Schumacher, the son of the legendary Michael Schumacher, is out of a seat at Haas. And it's also rumored he is going to be a reserve driver for Mercedes AMG. And Nicholas Latifi, the Williams driver, he's infamous in that driver lineup for just being awful. He's blamed by some for his crash last year that some believe led to Max winning. Max Verstappen winning the world championship. And then there's also just a bunch of moves in the drivers. Pierre Gasly is leaving AlphaTauri for, I believe, Alpine. And Fernando Alonso, the 2-time world champion, is leaving Alpine to go replace Sebastian Vettel at Aston Martin Racing. This season, it's been Max Verstappen. Almost every week, it's been Max Verstappen.
Which is what I hate the most.
I don't like it either.
I hate him.
It's almost more a higher level of dominance than Lewis Hamilton in 2020. He's won the most amount of races in a single season. I mean, obviously, when they compare him to the other people in the top 3, I think it was Schumacher and Vettel. That was when the seasons were a lot shorter, and I think they would win just straight out every race of the season. So it would have been a lot more dominant. But, I mean, he gets pole position, or even he doesn't even have to get pole position, and he just takes first place and runs away. Just gets a 30-second lead on second place. So, yeah, it's been a very, very, very... Max Verstappen and Red Bull dominated season. They broke the streak of Mercedes winning the Constructors' Championship with Red Bull winning it this year, and it was Max's second world championship.
There's a lot of things going on recently, too. Max already secured the win, then there's a lot of controversial things that happened in the last few weeks about not giving up a spot for his teammate to pass so that he could potentially finish in second.
Yes,
his teammate.
His teammate is tied right now in the World Drivers' Championship for second place with the Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc.
Mm-hmm.
And last week in Brazil, Red Bull had the opportunity to switch their driver positions. So Max was in front of Sergio Perez, his teammate, and they wanted Max to give up the position to Sergio so he could have more points over Leclerc. And Max came on the radio, said, "I'm not doing that," and just kept speeding up. And then he said, "I've given you my reasons why I'm not doing that." And Sergio was mad. He was mad on that radio. And I think it more speaks to Max's character than it does Red Bull, because I don't like Red Bull, but I think that incident made me hate Max more.
Yeah.
Because he's already locked this up. I mean, obviously he has the most points in any season scored. He's got that record, most wins. He won a month ago, and he's still like, "I'm gonna win." He didn't have this chance to win, but he's still like, "I'm gonna be the best in each race." Which, I mean, I'll give him this. That's the championship mentality. That's what you want.
It is, but at the same time, there's a lot of people who don't like him. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that, are a little controversial.
Mm-hmm.
Give your teammate this win. Like, you've got it secured. You're good. His teammate has done a lot for him. Sergio Perez has done a lot for him.
I don't think Max would have his first world championship
I don't
without
think he
Sergio.
would.
He defended against Lewis to allow Max to
entire
catch
time.
up in that last race last year for, I think, 20 or 10 laps.
Yeah.
It was a long time.
And without him, Max doesn't have it. Even this year, he's done a lot for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a good teammate.
Yep.
Do him the justice. Get him those points. Let him come in second.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's battled back and forth. You two are in the same car. There's a lot that I don't like about Max. And I also just feel bad for Sergio Perez because it's like, you worked hard.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing this for him, and this is how he treats you. But Charles Leclerc, I thought throughout this year, he was going to be able to take it.
It looked like it at the start. I think he
won the first few races.
He did. He won, I think, 4 races, maybe 3 races this year. And granted, some of those, Max had mechanical issues that forced him to retire each race, notably the first race of the year and in Australia a couple weeks after. But since, I think, Australia,
everything's been falling apart.
It's been Red Bull.
There's a lot of issues with the Ferrari that I've seen.
Yeah.
Some
issues with their strategy, issues with their car.
Yeah.
It's
and
not great.
It also sucks because I like Lewis Hamilton. I know you're a McLaren fan as well. Those two have not been doing well. I have loved George Russell. He
took his maiden win in Brazil last week. I think that was my favorite race of the year, was in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
That one, we saw, obviously, George Russell take first place. Lewis Hamilton came in second place in Brazil, and he's been a huge fan of that race. He obviously won it last year. He was named an honorary citizen of the country last weekend. And Charles Leclerc went from, I think, 18th to 4th in that race.
Insane.
Which is crazy.
Phenomenal driving job right there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But throughout the season, I mean, obviously, if you take away Max, I think it's been a great season.
Yeah.
Especially with the upcoming events in the U.S., having one be in Miami.
Well, that already happened this year. That race was in May. Next year, there will be 3 in America.
There will be 3 with Miami,
Austin,
Vegas,
Texas, and
Austin,
Vegas.
Texas.
Yep.
Which I'm excited for. Obviously, bringing more to the U.S. Will help this sport continue to grow, continue to shine. All right, well, this is wrapping up Under the Lights. Thank you so much. Give a big shout-out to Jackson and his podcast, The Garbage Reel.
Yep.
You can check that on Apple Podcasts.
And YouTube.
So go ahead, check that out. We're going to be uploading this one to YouTube and some of the previous ones as well. So go check those out under the Lights. And thank you and have a great day.
Thank you very much.